Good evening, and welcome to the 2014 Boothbay Region High School Sports Awards Banquet. My name is Alan Crocker, and I'm the Athletic Director here at Boothbay Region High School. As always, we had a great sports season with many great team and individual accomplishments. Quite possibly the greatest accomplishment was the fact that we had over 50% of our student body participating in fall sports programs. Before I get started with our team accomplishments, I'd like to take a few minutes to thank some people. First, I'd like to thank Heather O'Brien and the Boosters for setting up the gym and providing the desserts for tonight's events. I'd like to thank the football mothers. Because of their fundraising, they're able to provide a trainer for each of our home football games this year. Thank you to our maintenance crew for getting the facilities ready for each game. And thank you to Dickie Spofford, Richard Hellinan, Mark Gorey, John Leonard for doing the chains during the football games, and Bob Pascal and Richard Morrison for announcing them. Thank you to John Trees and Channel 7 for broadcasting the games for the community, and for the Boothbay Register for providing coverage on a weekly basis. I'd like to thank Lauren Brown for keeping the scorebook during the field hockey season and riding the bus to Lincoln. If you haven't been to Lincoln, it's quite a trip. And I'd like to thank our fire departments, our police departments, and our EMTs for providing a parade for our boys cross-country team after they won the Class C Western Maine title. One thing that truly amazes me is how much of an event sports become in our community. From the volunteer coaches on our programs to the people putting signs on the side of the road. I think we're very lucky to live in a community that provides this level of support. Thank you. Our girls soccer program showed a lot of promise for the future this year, winning games against Winthrop and Telstar. The girls were able to play a full JV schedule this year because we had 24 girls on the team, almost twice as many as last year. One of the highlights of the season for me was watching them on homecoming weekend, playing on our football field against Oak Hill. Even though they lost 1-0 to the much bigger Class B school, they played very hard and provided a very memorable senior night for our 4 senior girls. Our football team made the playoffs for the second consecutive season, with wins over Telstar and Trait. Unfortunately, the team was hit hard with injuries towards the end of the season, and they're not able to pull out the upset over second-seeded Dirigo in the playoffs on Halloween night. What I'm most impressed with was the coach and team's never-give-up attitude. To be the second smallest school in the entire state of Maine to offer football, it takes a lot of heart and a lot of toughness to compete on a weekly basis. I think the fact that we've been in the playoffs for the past 2 years speaks volumes for our coaching staff and our players. Our field hockey team had a great season. Under new coach Donna Jordan, they finished with a 6-6-2 record, ranking them 4th in the Mountain Valley Conference and qualifying them for a preliminary game in Lincoln, Maine. This match had our best win total since 2011, and it's our first 500 or better season since I can remember. I think it's safe to say that this year's field hockey season was one of the most successful in the entire history of our program, and it was really exciting to watch. Our girls cross country had a successful season. Under the coaching of Nick Scott, who is back after missing last season, they began the year by defeating Lincoln Academy, Oceanside, and Madomic, placed 3rd at the all-conference mid-season race, and ended the season by finishing 3rd at the conference meet, 7th at the Western Maine Class C race, which allowed them to compete one more week in the Class C state meet in Belfast. The boys cross country had another unbelievable year. They were undefeated against Class C competition during the regular season, and they won the conference championship and Western Maine Class C championship for the 2nd consecutive season. They ran great at the state championship meet, eventually finishing third in a very close race. Our 7 runners were able to cross the finish line within a minute of each other. When you compare this to last year's team, the top 7 runners were 2 minutes of each other. So that gives you some idea of how well they ran. Great job. And one thing I'm especially proud of, on top of being the model program as to how to win in Class C, they were also able to bring home the sportsmanship banner for Western Maine Class C for the 2nd year in a row. Congratulations to all our teams. It was a great fall. Now I'd like to take a few moments to recognize our conference all-stars. When I call your name, please come forward to get your certificate. First, our academic all-stars. To be an academic all-star, you need to be an honor student that participated at the varsity level. They consider all your grades going up into your senior year. For girls soccer, we have Courtney Brewer. And also for girls soccer, Sinead Miller. For field hockey, we have Nicole Lebrec. And for cross country, we have Maya Schleim. And Carl Alamo. Now for our honorable mention all-stars. For field hockey, Erica Ames. For cross country, Genevieve Taylor. And Kate Fryan. For our boys' honorable mention all-stars, Morgan Wilson. And Shane Johnson. For our second team all-stars, for field hockey, Sydney Meter. For cross country, Morgan Crocker. And also for girls cross country, Lincoln Hamlet. For boys cross country, Kyler Cardy. Tristan Mercier. and Matt Burnham. And now for our first team All-Stars. For field hockey, Taylor Walby. For football, Howie Carter. He must be getting ready for wrestling season. And for cross country, Joey Palelo. Kyle Ames. Kyle Alamo. And Hannah Morley. Can I please get a round of applause for all our conference All-Stars? I do have one more award I'd like to give. As many of you already know, our cross-country coach was named one of the 25 most inspiring coaches in America. This season, Nick was also named the Mountain Valley Conference Boys Cross-Country Coach of the Year. We're truly honored to have a coach that is not only recognized as one of the very best coaches in the state, but one of the very best in the entire country. Congratulations, Nick Scott. Now, I'd like to call up the coaches to present their awards. After you receive your award, if you can please go to the back of the gym, you can get your picture taken for the Boothway Register. First, I'd like to welcome Coach Kim Dion for girls soccer.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to start with our most improved player. For this award, I asked the girls to vote because they know each other as well as I do, and I vote along with them. So it was interesting last year when we voted for most valuable player, most improved player. It was one person was the clear winner. This year there was like 5 or 6 girls that were voted for, which just shows that so many of them have improved over the course of the year. This one girl that they chose was a freshman, so this was her first time playing on our soccer team. She stepped up into a starting role and she worked hard every minute that she was on the field. I am very proud of her because she always pours her heart and soul and gives everything she has. Our most improved player for this year is Rihanna Hainu. Nice job, Rihanna. The next award I'd like to give out is Most Valuable Player. Again, the team and I voted for who we thought was the most valuable person to our team. For this vote, there was 2 people that were clearly very valuable to us. But the person who won this award, our team just would not have been the team we were without her. She has saved us in so many occasions. She's one of the greatest defenders I've had the pleasure of working with. Every time I took her out of the game, I was on pins and needles waiting to put her back in the game. I think I might have taken her once out of the game all season. It's going to be very difficult to replace her, and she's an amazing soccer player. That's Brenna Alley. The last award is the Coaches Award, so nobody gets to vote for this award except for me because it's mine. So I have all the say in the world in this one. This took me a lot of time to think about because there are so many great ladies on my team. But when I sat down and thought about it, she is somebody who gave so much to our team in positive attitude. She's always full of energy, and she just finds a way to make me smile without even trying sometimes. I'm not sure that soccer has always been her passion. A couple weeks ago, she shared stories with me about going to Pee Wee soccer and crying and refusing to play. But she decided to give soccer another chance, and I am so thankful I was her coach. That is Lindsay Buckingham.
And now, Coach Brian Dion for football.
Before I start with my awards and awards for our team, I'd just like to thank Mr. Crocker for all he does for all of us, athletes, parents, coaches, administration, all the people who help with the boosters and everything. He does a tremendous amount that we don't see behind the closed doors, and usually it's stuff that isn't real sexy, like being on the field and actually playing and being a part of that. It's usually stuff like, oh goodness, we don't have a bus, what are we going to do? Oh, we need this for a uniform. Oh, we need more of this, or dealing with other issues. And he does that tirelessly, and I really appreciate all of his efforts. So thank you, Mr. Crocker. Before I start our awards, today I'm going to just give a quick quote. Did a longer one downstairs. This one's a little shorter. We are talking about football, so this one is from Vince Lombardi. For those of you that don't know, he was a rather successful football coach in the NFL. He had some pretty good words to say, and this is something that I thought I'd share with you. And I hope it speaks to everyone, whether you play football or whether you're just a parent in the audience or someone who's supporting an athlete here in the room. The price of success is hard work, dedication to a job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied to the best of our abilities ourselves to the task at hand. Okay, and we have to have that kind of dedication and that hard work for all of us in our seasons. We are a small school, as Mr. Crocker said, competing with much larger schools and bigger programs, and it's really a testament to all of you. And that you go out there and give everything you have and compete with your team. So I'm really proud of all of you. And for me as a coach, as I look at awarding 3 individuals that we're supposed to do here at this banquet, really it's your opportunity to represent what is really going on with multiple people in the background on your teams. So you may be the one that's holding the plaque tonight, but you're also representing others on your team that gave of themselves and everything. And you should cherish that you have that, but keep in mind that there's a lot of other people that you're representing, and that's really what this is about, is representing that. And we give an award, been giving this award for the last couple of years, and I thought I'd share this upstairs. And this is our Hammer Award, a Golden Hammer. The Hammer, to me, from a family of hardworking individuals, blue-collar individuals. My father was an electrician and going out and working on the job. And the hammer, to me, symbolizes hard work. And sometimes you actually kind of smash your finger with the hammer, and sometimes it does great work for you, and sometimes you got to reassess. We had players in our team. You know, you can be a running back and you get all these stats, and that's awesome. And you can be a receiver, and yeah, I get all these stats. But sometimes the guys in the trenches who are doing a lot of the hard work, it's harder to recognize them. Harder to recognize them on all-star teams for my sport. It's harder to recognize them just in general. And so for me, this is a reward for someone who gives everything they have on the field as a lineman. So an offensive lineman, defensive lineman for us. The individual who's going to receive the Golden Hammer is a guy that he shows up every single day to work, and he puts in the time, and he works, and he never complains, and he's always there, and he's always doing the tough stuff, so the guy behind him can get those yards and get in the end zone and look good and everything. And to me, a person who symbolized the hard work and dedication you need in the trenches would be Doug Steinmetz. The next award I'm going to be giving out is our Most Improved Award. And as I looked at our candidates for this award, you know, our team is just full of players who had to step up as the season went on. We had individuals that got hurt or weren't a part of our team at the end of the season or at different points for whatever reason, and other guys had to step up and assume a role and play hard, and there was so many of those individuals. A lot of people were up for this award. And so to me, the separator was I had to really think about over the course of the last number of years. And to me, there's one individual who completely changed his person. He dedicated himself to physical conditioning. He wasn't the best athlete when I first met the young man, I'll be honest. But he was one hard-working son of a gun. And if you ever come to our football games the last couple of years and you saw one guy who sprinted to the line of scrimmage like you just want as a coach, and you try to get everybody else to do that, this guy did that. And he did that for the first couple of years, and he wasn't that good a football player at that time. And this year he led our team in tackles. He was a no-doubter when it came down to the All-Star Awards and getting his recognition from being voted by other coaches around the league, which is hard to do, as I said, as a lineman, and him as a linebacker as well. So, Howie Carter, Most Improved. And my last award that I'll be giving out tonight is the Coach's Award. Again, this is about representing something to me. And I think when I thought about this one and I asked my coaches for help, unlike Coach, I asked for names, and that was a ridiculous list of people for this award and for the other ones, which is great. So again, I had to think about someone who could symbolize some things for us. And this guy, this young man, is a young player. He's only a sophomore. You know, he was involved in more of our football games than anybody else. He played JV, he played varsity. He's another one of those guys that, you know, he wanted to be on the field, and he gave everything he had, and he was just so close. And then we lost a couple of players, and an opportunity came for him, and it wasn't necessarily at the position where he thought he'd be going in there, and he always did whatever we asked And he gave everything he had. He did it in the summertime with his workouts, coming to summer stuff, and then he also did that throughout the season. I'm very proud of this young man. He'll symbolize our Coaches Award and what it means to be an athlete on a team. Carter Babcock.
And now, Coach Donna Jordan for field hockey.
First of all, I'd like to thank the boosters for their support this season, and I'd also like to congratulate all the teams, soccer, football, cross country, on your seasons. It was a great job. Watched many of you, especially guys and girls, running by us every day with their music. Really appreciated that. And I do have a special thanks to Coach Dion and the football team. They came out for I think it was our Dirigo game, and made a big difference for us over there cheering. Kind of scared the Dirigo girls, and that was good. Thank you, guys. For our most improved player, I asked the team to please give me a few descriptors that would recognize that player for you. And then I also had the girls vote for the most improved player. And they said that the most improved player showed improvement in all aspects of the game, developed and demonstrated confidence in game play and practice work, improved not only as a player, but also as a teammate, a hard worker, constantly working to improve, and a positive role model for teammates. And the team selected Lily Sherburne. I again asked them to please write the descriptors down for their most valuable player. And they said they wanted to look for a positive leader on and off the field, a skillful player, a dedicated player to the game, someone who is reliable, and a positive role model for her teammates. And the team selected Taylor Walby. When it was time to look at the Coaches Award, there's one girl that really stood out for me, and it's an individual that grew with the game. She, many times, the last week, 2 weeks of our season in our game play, she had me as a coach. She gave me some wow moments. And those wow moments were times where she was not playing, but she was offering encouragement, she was offering direction to her team. And in her suggestions to her teammates in play, I really caught myself just turning around saying, wow, I think I want her as an assistant coach. Because that's how correct she was. Have really enjoyed working with her, and will enjoy working with her in the future. Molly Tebow.
And now, Coach Nick Scott for boys and girls cross country.
Hello and good evening. I'd first like to start off by just thanking several groups of people. As Mr. Crocker had mentioned before, I'd like to thank the emergency people for putting on our parade after the Western Maine Championship. That's always a lot of fun. I'd also like to thank the parents of the cross-country team. You guys show up to almost all of our events, and we have a great fan base, even when our meets are quite far away, so thank you. Tonight, I'd like to start off by presenting the MVP award on the girls team. And it goes to an individual who is a strong, talented runner. They finished first on our team for every race that we ran. She was also third at the Mountain Valley Conference Championships. But beyond her athletic capabilities, she's an incredibly kind and hardworking young lady who is fully deserving of the title MVP. So congratulations to Hannah Morley. The Most Improved Athlete award on the girls' side goes to a young lady who saw consistent improvement throughout the season. She was a decent runner in middle school and one that I thought could definitely help out the high school team to a certain extent, but she ended up surpassing my expectations by quite a bit. Not only was she an asset to our team, but she also ended up making the all-conference team, which is quite the accomplishment. So congratulations to Lincoln Hamlin. And finally, the Coaches Award recipient has had an incredible 4 years on the cross-country team. During this time, she has placed among the top 10 at regionals and is a 4-year member of the all-conference team in the Mountain Valley Conference. Her tenacity, drive, and ability to simply put in work is unmatched by most high school kids. Her talents will certainly be missed. Morgan Crocker. The boys' MVP simply gets it. He knows what distance running is all about, and he executes it as well as anyone I've ever coached. Incredibly methodical in his training, he maxed out at 50 miles a week this season. If you think about that for a second, there's only 7 days in a week, so it's a lot of miles per day. He's also a student of the sport. Not too long ago, when he was in 8th grade, we discussed different racing tactics and training strategies that he'd been reading about. With top 10 finishes at the conference, regional, and state championships, success has already found this young man, but certainly the future continues to be very bright for Joey Palelo. With the Most Improved, this particular individual entered high school as a slightly out-of-shape kid who ran kind of slow, but then morphed into an outstanding runner who made the all-conference team and placed among the top 10 at regionals. It has been amazing watching him mature into a tough competitor and enjoy the success that has come as a result of his hard work. Congratulations, Kyler Cardy. And finally, with the Coaches Award, this particular individual entered high school as an unassuming freshman and then slipped onto the varsity team as a junior and then completely and totally crushed it his senior year. This guy has turned into a very good runner, but a truly great leader. Hungry for personal and team success, he pushed not only himself, but also his team. His perpetual positive demeanor is contagious, and certainly it was no mistake that a team with a lukewarm preseason rating challenged to claim a state championship. Congratulations, Kyle.
We get a big round of applause for all our award winners tonight. Now, it's my pleasure to welcome our guest speaker for the night. Heather O'Brien is a 1990 graduate of Boothby Region High School, where she was a three-sport athlete. She continues to be involved in high school athletics as the current president of our Boosters Club. It's thanks to people like Heather and our booster volunteers that make nights like tonight possible by doing everything from setting up the gym to purchasing the plaques that are given to our athletes. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Heather O'Brien.
Good evening, everybody. I talked to Alan earlier this afternoon, and I wanted to start a new tradition with the Boosters Club, and that is I'd like to recognize the volunteers that help us out during the season so you can get those famous hot dogs, hamburgers, and the good old hot cocoa. Tonight I'd like to recognize our Vice President, which is Tracy Smith. Without her expertise in lighting the grill, you would not have those hamburgers. I would also like to introduce our directors, Becky Alley and Candace Crocker. This year, I probably never laughed so much as I did in the Snack Shack, Sarah Morley. I would like to thank Michelle Bouchard, Sarah Morley, Carrie Babcock, Lisa Clark, Sarah Drapeau, Jennifer Gaudette, Betsy Pitcher, and the Rotary Club for helping us set up, serve everybody, and clean up. It's a huge help to us, and we appreciate your efforts. One of the other ways that we make money is the school is generous enough to give us a little kickback from the tickets that are sold. I'd like to thank Austin Crocker, Evan Hepburn, Becky Alley, Carl and Kyle Alamo, and Nick Morley. One of the other things that we do for the students is we provide the spirit bags, which I would like everyone to give a huge round of applause for Julie and Paul Roberts. This year they donated enough bags, 250 I believe it was, so we could get every student and a teacher a bag of popcorn in their spirit bag and candy this year. So thank you very much. And lastly, I'd like to thank Carter Babcock, Duncan Drapeau, Colette Burton, Cagney O'Brien, Mackenzie Abbott for helping Tracy Smith, Becky Abbott, and myself setting up for the event today. Now what I really came to say. I've known about this opportunity to speak in front of you for many weeks, but every time I sat in front of my computer, my mind would go blank. This after all is a sports banquet, and while I participated in sports in elementary and high school, I was by no means a star athlete. I do not remember any great moments like the game-winning shot or my individual times to win 2 state track championships, or how many goals I scored in field hockey. But this is what I do remember. I remember in field hockey my freshman year I played varsity with a seasoned veteran, Melissa Hudson. I looked up to her so much, but as a freshman I was so scared of her. It was one of our first home games and she was taking the corner shot. It came to me and I swung. The next thing I remember is her screaming and running at me with her stick waving in the air. I was so scared I ran in the opposite direction. She tackled me from behind and said, "Nice job, freshman." In basketball, I remember the excitement when we were going to scrimmage the JV boys. I remember my father standing in the doorway under the basket saying, "Box out." I remember the fear and the excitement I had playing in Augusta as a forward, senior with the incredible height of 5'4". By the end of the third quarter, I think we were all hoping for a mercy rule. Let's just say the announcers stopped talking about us and started talking about the 1984 goalball team. As we walked off the court with our heads hung low, there were no cameras running up, fighting for an interview with me. My freshman year, we could do 2 sports. Sandy Maddox, a good friend of mine, and I decided to do swim team. I don't remember much about swim team, except I think my coach was yelling to me every time I came up from breath, "Everyone's gone, but keep going." I really wanted to play softball in junior high. I really wanted to play softball as I did in junior high, and I loved the game. But I remember as a freshman walking down over the hill with my glove in the hand, I saw Leah Timberlake standing on the mound. I stood there, I watched her wind up and pitch, and the ball sailed so fast over the plate, I couldn't even see it. I didn't say anything. I turned around, walked away, headed for the gym, and turned my cleats in for track shoes. But that didn't start off well either. I thought I would be great at the discus, as I thought I had a pretty good arm back then. But when I was attempting my second throw at the discus, I heard a loud thunk and looked over, and the discus was sitting on top of one of the teacher's cars. Mr. Tostovan walked over to me and sent me over to Mr. Morrison, praying I could run. Aside from these personal experiences, I have witnessed that all high school athletes go through the same thing that you are faced with today. We had great wins and we had heartbreak losses. There were state champions and there were seasons we didn't win a game. There were kids suspended because of choices they made, and there was the same kid seeming to always get most valuable player. There were catfights, there was drama, there was seasonal boyfriends and girlfriends. And all you have to do is I look at your face when I sit in class with you now, and you stare at that minute hand of the clock, waiting for that familiar voice to come over the loudspeaker and say, "Please dismiss the field hockey team at this time." But as my fingers continued across the keyboard writing these words, I realized that's all I needed to say about my career at BRHS with sports. It wasn't until I dropped Maisie off at basketball Monday evening, as she is now starting junior high with Mr. Deachin, that on the ride home it hit me. I walked through the front door, I ran downstairs to the closet, and I pulled out my scrapbook that has been sitting in the dark for years, filled with my past. I rifled through my yearbooks, my photos, and my report cards starting with first grade. These are things that I have not looked at for years, and I was really stunned to read what the teachers had to say about me in my report cards. It started in first grade with Mrs. Harriman. In her perfect penmanship, she wrote, "Heather is a joy to have in the classroom. However, she lacks self-confidence and needs to participate more in class discussions." It continued from there. Second grade, third grade, fourth grade, good grades, pleasant student, but it always talked about my lack of confidence and my lack of participation. I was shocked. I don't ever remember being shy. But then as I read more and more and started flashing back to my childhood, I saw a story start to unfold. My sixth grade year, my best friend at the time, Sandy Maddox, encouraged me to try out for basketball. I had never touched a ball in my life before. I wore ballet and tap shoes. But I went, I tried, and I made the team. I did not realize then, but I realize now, I made the team because a coach saw an opportunity in me to help me build confidence in myself by offering me a tool. He gave me an opportunity to step outside my comfort zone, both on and off the court. It was a choice to accept the challenge or walk away. I accepted the challenge. My point being is that from that moment forward, my life changed and I just didn't realize it. I was willing more and more to step outside of my comfort zone, raise my hand in class, and have my voice be heard. Without understanding it at the time, accomplishments that I was making as a basketball player were trickling over into my life off the court. In seventh grade, I had my first experience in fundraising and successfully raised over $1,000 for St. Jude's. As one of the highest fundraisers in the state of Maine, I can still remember the excitement as that 12-speed Red Ross bike showed up on my doorstep. But I also remember my father teaching me to think outside the box. While most kids were getting 25 cents a mile, I was getting a flat 20 bucks. I look back in my 8th grade year with my teacher, Nancy Atwell, as she wrote a book called In the Middle. and I feel proud that she chose me to be on the cover with my good friend Alan Greenleaf, even though my kids laugh at the mullet. I think back to how honored I was to be chosen for Girls State and got the experience to share the event with my best friend Kelly Carter. I can still remember sitting in student council meetings and getting excited for homecoming, pep rallies, and voicing student issues on the school. But one of the greatest things that I remember from high school was the silent walkout we had my senior year. There was a teacher that was going to be fired, and students found out about this before he did. We were very upset about the news and had a lot of questions to the school board. A group of us went to Miss Patrick, our English teacher, expressed our concerns. She then offered to meet with us to teach us how to approach the problem, work on solutions, and make a stand for what we believe in. We met at her house. I cannot tell you the feeling that day as we sat in this gym with the school board up on the stage demanding answers. We were on top of the world. After a long debate, we, the students, did not feel that our questions were answered nor our concerns addressed. We decided as a group to silently march out of the school, stand under the flag in honor of justice as the news cameras roll. I tell you these stories because if that first door had not opened for me, I don't know who I would be today. I know that I would never have the confidence to raise the money and would still be riding my 3-speed banana seat bike that summer. I would have never had the courage to walk out at the age of 17 in a school protest. Maybe I wouldn't have the opportunity that I do now to sit on various boards within this community and raise my hand. I know I never would have volunteered to coach for the Y or put myself up for coaching softball. And I would not have had the courage to board a plane January 28, 2009, by myself, leaving my kids behind to head to New York City and faces one of the biggest challenges of my life as my husband lay in bed fighting for his. So I send this message to you. Step out of your comfort zone, walk through the doors when they're open for you. Try new clubs, try new sports, volunteer for something maybe you haven't. Appreciate your parents, appreciate your teachers and your coaches and your friends, as they will open many doors for you throughout your life. Sports is only one part of who you are. The characteristics that sports instills in you are things like determination, respect, honesty, teamwork, and confidence. These characteristics, if embraced, will continue with you in every adventure you seek, every challenge you face, every trip you need to pick yourself up from, and every success you can pat yourself on the back with. But most importantly, I say this to you: have fun. Be respectful to your peers, your teachers, your community, because someday you will all be sitting here where your parents are sitting now, and always remember community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In closing, I'd like to say thank you to our athletes for always trying your hardest and making the community proud. I'd like to thank the parents. We all know that when our kids play a sport, it's a commitment of the whole family. Our parents are great at supporting our programs and traveling all over the state of Maine to cheer them on. Finally, I'd like to thank our coaches. Every single one of the coaches you see here tonight has put in hundreds of hours to provide the best possible experience for our kids. I truly believe that we have one of the very best coaching staffs in the entire state, and we're very lucky to have them. Please join me in a round of applause for our coaching staff. This concludes our 2014 Fall Banquet. Thank you all for coming.